If you guys have been following me for a little bit, I'd love for a thumbs up from you guys. I appreciate you. And this message is for you. I'm gonna get real vulnerable here. So I woke up this morning and God's been speaking to me a lot lately. And up until a couple years ago, I never talked about God, and that's because I truly didn't know if I believed. And I don't know if anybody else out there is going through anything challenging today or in their lives. What I can tell you, what I was reminded this morning and yesterday, is that when the hardest of times is when you're all alone and no one's there and you just feel like you don't know what you're going to do, that is when, what do you start doing? You start questioning things. You start asking the hard, big questions. When everything's going great, you're not truly happy until it's not going great. Because when it's not going great, you look back at, man, I wish I would have enjoyed that time a little more. So, what I've learned in my journey, 41 years old, if you don't know, this is the video you're going to find out a lot about me. I'll try to keep it about 30 minutes, but I'm going to just tell you a quick little, there's a bunch of crazy stories. And, but I did grow up in an apartment with sharing with my sister a room and roaches and just poverty, I really did. And I didn't like people with money. I had the stigmatism against them because I learned years later that you tend to gravitate what you're used to and comfortable with. And until you feel value in yourself, you will never outgrow your environment. That is the truth. So, in order to grow, you need to get outside your environment. So, I just was introduced to this new gentleman through I believe God because I woke up. I had a day with God yesterday. I woke up, I fasted, gave my whole day to God, and woke up this morning. And the first video, I just opened my phone and went to look at YouTube. And first video was somebody I've never ever heard of. The the podcast was someone I never heard of. It was just on my phone, and it really sounded like the story I lived, and a little different but very similar. And it just reminded me on how far I've come and where I'm at, and under pressure. And this person, if you message me, I'll send you his. Actually, I'll copy and paste it on a comment. I'll post his video. It's an amazing video. So I made my first $1 million at 38 years old. And then I went through as soon as 5 years before that, I was really a millionaire, but I didn't even accept it, let's say. So I over leveraged. I was raising money. And when I sold 70 homes in 7 months in 2020. And then I come home in August and tell my kid's mom that I made it, don't have to work anymore. And then 2 months later, I'm getting kicked out of my house. I have no idea what's going on. And long story short, God had a plan through it all. Heard another video yesterday that talks about when when you're somebody that feels always alone and you've always didn't fit in, never fit in. It's because God's got a plan for you and He's keeping you close to Him. And I truly believe that, and I feel that, and I know that. So in the darkest of times is when I'm smiling the most and I have the most energy because I know there's going to be a breakthrough. So I'm most alert under pressure. And this person I just heard this morning was talking about the same thing that he just didn't feel comfortable when things were comfortable. Like he because you're not growing there. Most people are looking for comfort in the struggles when the strength comes. So if you're not looking for hard opportunities, life's going to put them in front of you. So I was looking for comfort the last 2 3 years, and God, I felt knew that and allowed me to get myself into struggles. And I've grown more in the last 4 years than I've ever grown in my life. And I'm grateful for that because character is the thing that matters the most through it all. Money is a tool, So it comes down to faith, fitness, family, finance, and fun. And this person that I listened to, he also talked about, I know, and he thought, I learned things the hard way, but if I'd been more coachable in my 20s and 30s, and I think that's what most young people struggle with is not being coachable. Your ego gets in the way. My ego is so big, such a chip on my shoulder. And I was driven by money because I had no value in myself. So most people are looking for the same thing, in my opinion. So once you realize your character is the number one thing that you should be working on. So in the hard times is when you're feeling weak and you're feeling sorry for yourself, that is the time that you need to level up your game. So I do have a six pack at the age of 41 years old. I have a 7 and a 9 year old boy. And ever since they were born, it pushed me to new levels. I used to want to wake up at 4 or 5 a.m. every day, and I never would until I had children. And then I did. Got up at 4 a.m. And now I've been getting up. There's half the days I get up at 2 to 3 a.m. in the morning. I'm highly driven, but not by finances, by faith. I want to grow my character. I want to grow my legacy, which I believe my legacy, I want people to remember me by, is that I never stopped and I always grew and got better. Because believe me, I was a mess. I grew up with anger issues. I grew up with, like, I'm talking about, I've been in over 30 street fights and respect issues. And when I had the $1 million, I didn't practice risk management because I never had anything to manage. I never had any, there's nothing to lose before. So lost the million overnight, struggled for 2.5 years, got it all back, but not liquid, and in a position where I could potentially lose it all again in the next few days. And I'm being vulnerable with you because I don't think a lot of people talk about the struggles. It's never fun to talk about the struggles, but that's the shit that really matters. So if you can't be vulnerable in the struggles, I know I'm going to be successful because I know who I am and I know what I've done and I know the kind of relentless person that I am. And I've been dumping everything into my children the last 4 years, 5 years. And before that, I dumped everything into work and my family because kids' mom was taking care of the babies. Once I got kicked out of the house, it became nothing except taking care of my kids and putting the bet. Money didn't matter. I gave it all up. I walked away from $500,000 in 2 years. I started investing. I should have kept selling. I should have invested a little slower. I don't know how to do things slow. So, but through all this, I learned who I am and what I'm capable of. And I know I'm capable of being a billionaire. And the reason I know I'm capable of that is because my mindset is there. And I'm doing it all for God now, not for me. I'm doing it for faith. I want to speak the message. My whole message this morning is to have faith because you do have a purpose and you may not know what it is, but living in comfort is not your purpose. So when you're struggling, you're closest to God. Just lost somebody. Got them on, lost them. So, guys, smash the like button. Please subscribe if you guys would like any mindset value. But really, this channel has been about and real estate investing and why am I forgetting the last word? Good show. Real estate investing and just got a phone call. Okay, so real estate investing development. But I'm gonna turn to the grid show. The grid show. God, real estate investing development. And then I'll say maybe I should change it to the 5 F's. I don't know. What do you guys think? Faith, fitness, family, finance, and fun. But going back to the fun part, that gentleman I was listening to was talking about, you got to balance it out with, and this is the thing I did wrong. When I made money, I just made money, I saved. I made money, I saved. I've always lived off 100,000. I've really always lived off about 50 grand a year when I was making 150, and then I started living off of 100 grand a year when I was making over 2 to 600,000. I've always lived off 100 grand a year, and I've been doing that forever. So I probably will do that until I start making $1 million a year. But there's a lot of Christian people out there that, and I'm about to start sitting down with this pastor, and we're going to chop it up some more and have a video with him on here. But I do believe that my journey and my development journey is to bring people closer to God. Because when I was 24, I went to church my first day ever when I was looking for more because I had money, I had a house, I had everything I ever wanted. I still wasn't fulfilled. And that is because fulfillment comes from within, and you can be fulfilled each and every day if you have your eyes set on the right purpose, which is serve and bring people closer to God. Because at the end of the day, money will burn, houses will burn. The only thing left is your soul. So, how you build your character is what truly matters. Now, I don't believe you're supposed to be poor to do it. I don't believe you're supposed to be rich. I believe that is everybody's own journey. But I'm going to end this message with the fact my whole reason for doing YouTube is to leave value for my kids if something ever would have happened to me. So that's why I started this channel. So I teach my boys so much, man. They've been doing push-ups since they were 3, playing chess since they were 3. My 9-year-old is 100 pounds and has muscles. I wasn't 100 pounds in my freshman year in high school, probably because I didn't get the kind of food he does. My youngest, 7, can do 10 one-handed push-ups, super lean, more like me. And getting the opportunity to relive the childhood that I wish I had lived through them is the best blessing that God could have ever given me. So no matter the money, no matter if I'm living in my car, whatever happens, I know that life is amazing and I will just enjoy it no matter where I'm at and what circumstances that I'm going through, what struggles, people that I owe money to, and everything. I will do my best, my ultimate best, and I know God will always take care of me. So, with that being said, thank you, Jesus, and have the best day ever. What is today? Thursday. I'm about to go move out of one of my properties. Power got turned off. And thank you, God, for this day. Peace.